We're the Molloy twins and we're just over 2 weeks away from our first ever live event. The event's going to be on Saturday the 30th of March in the Louis Fitzgerald Hotel, and it will be great to see you there. So head to the link in our bio to pick up your tickets or shoot us a DM and we can get you sorted. Welcome back to the Molloy Twins podcast. And today on the podcast, we're joined by a man whose name most people may not know, a face you may not be familiar with, but I'm sure it's a brand that a lot of people will know and love. And it's an absolute pleasure to have him on his debut on the podcast scene, the first formal interview that he's done, Shane Doyle. Shane, man, firstly, just thank you for saying yes and agreeing to come on the show.
Yeah, thanks very much for having me. I feel a bit out of my depth with the people that you've had on already. And I don't think I've even accomplished enough to be on here, but we're only getting started with the business. But thank you. Thanks for having us on and allowing me.
No, thanks for coming. I think he's very much underselling himself.
Oh,
big time,
yeah, big time.
Big time. So Shane, Amico, whatever.
Yeah, let's clear that up.
Yeah, that's the first question we should clear up.
Whatever you want to call it. It kind of just turned into a market until then, because it's on the tongue. Everyone kind of asks you Amico or Amico. I call it Amico Fashion, but
Amico.
Call it whatever
You say
want.
Amico?
Yeah,
right,
we call it Amico.
We go Amico then. Have you heard anyone else say anything other than Amico or Amico?
Anyone
Has
proper
anyone
butchered
it? Yeah.
No. It's only Amico or Amico, yeah.
Put an Italian
I
accent.
wouldn't correct them, like, you know what I mean? It's nearly a market until on its own now.
Yeah, it gets people talking about the brand.
Yeah.
Where did the name come from, by the way?
I don't know. It was in between Allura Fashion, Argent Fashion, and Amico Fashion, and the other two I've taken, so I just went with Amico. And then it was a translation into Italian. It's true friend. So I just thought it suited the brand. Like.
Did you know that before picking Amico? It was only off the back.
I didn't know that.
That's what a coincidence that is.
And then the logo and that is a chess pawn, so I had to learn to play chess then after we come up with the...
Oh yeah, you have to be on brand. The logo, Imagine someone calls you out for a chess match and I have no clue how to play. How's the chess skills these days?
Not that good. I can get buoyed out, but that was it. Like, and I kind of came up with the pawn. Kind of came from, I'd always been interested in fashion, like from an early age. I'd always been interested in the British boutiques, and I don't know, it just, I'd watched the war so many times and they'd reference the pawn, and you'll see if you watch it, they reference the pawn and the characters like being pawns on a board. Like, I thought that would be a great logo for like a brand. Like.
It is cool. There is something about chess, isn't it?
Yeah.
I don't know. I've never actually played chess, to be honest with you, but like there's so many analogies. There's so many different sports. Like boxing, they talk about boxing's like a game of chess, and like fighting, and even football at times. So it is cool.
Yeah.
That's well, and because obviously we're all repping
Amico
at the moment. This is a skull.
Yeah.
How come they changed to the skull? Or what's the inspiration behind the skull?
They were the two logos that I had. Two logos that I had. So they're two different ranges. Like, so.
Nice. What, any inspiration behind the skull, or just look
no?
Cool,
I kind of liked I loved the way. I don't know. I just always kind of liked that. Like when I was a young fella, I used to be getting the fake tattoos with the little skulls and bones.
The little rub-on ones with the water.
Holidays and that. And, I used to look at like the likes of Plain and Philip Plain. They have they're like designs are largely based around like skull, like stuff like that. Like I really took a lot of inspiration from that brand.
Nice. Cool. So we met up last week to have a chat and a bit of a debrief before we cut on, and something that I really took away from, well, there was a lot of things I took away from the conversation, but one of the big ones was the amount of like role models that you would look up to who aren't like figures you'd have direct access to. Let's say it's not like friends or family you're surrounded by, but people who are big names in the fashion industry who you seem to get a lot of inspiration from. Yeah,
like not even in the fashion industry, just indirectly in sports, like fashion actors, like you look at like say Tom Brady, like he's a 199 draft pick, like he's like who's gonna think he was gonna become one of the greatest quarterbacks ever. Like then you look at like Kanye West, like he's living in New York for 6 years before he gets a deal, like, you know what I mean? From Chicago to New York, you look at 50 Cent, like he signed to Capitol Records and then was shot and was dropped and continued on, and they were all just relentless in their pursuit, like of what they wanted to do. Do you know what I mean? You look at actors then as well. You look at like Robert Downey Jr., like he was in and out of prison at an early age, like, and like Josh Brolin, like he was in the Goonies and then kind of fell off for a number of years, and then is one of the biggest actors. My favourite actor now, like I like the Underdog Story.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
Do you know what I mean?
There's
a brand as well, Amari. Have you heard
Amari?
of it? Yeah. Like, and that that man he's 47 and he only founded the brand when he was 37, and it's huge. It's a huge conglomerate now. So like I like the underdog story. Like,
nice, taking
it's
a lot
too
of
late to
inspiration.
start. Like,
Yeah, for sure. And give us some background. How long has Amico Fashion, depending on what way you want to say it, how long has that been in existence?
at the start, it was a bit of a shit show, to be honest. Like, I used to just
All the best stories start that way, don't they?
Stuff and put them on a t-shirt, like, and get me mad to take a picture of me sitting there and just put them on, like, and I didn't know what I was doing. Like, I didn't have a clue. I had no, I'd never been to college. I had no like experience in fashion. I had no experience in business. I was in the army. I was a soldier, so it was a completely different background for me, and like it just kind of grew and developed, like, until I placed my first order then, and we had 300 hoodies, and the 6 of them were in my ma's box room. Like, so I had to, like, every night, like maneuver the boxes around the room to get into bed, and then I'd go to work then, and I was working in FedEx then at the time, and like I was too afraid to open them. I was too nervous to open them. Do you know what I mean?
So you were sitting there, boxes of hoodies there, you didn't want to look at them.
I still am a little bit shy, like an introvert, but I listened to a podcast. It's called Renegades. It's Bruce Springsteen and Barack Obama, and they speak about it's like 6 minutes on the first episode, and they both talk about. Barack is saying to Bruce Springsteen, he's saying, like, you came across as a shy person, and he then delves into it and kind of says, like, it's not uncommon for people in, like, artistic professions or creatives to be shy. Like, it's as if they have no voice, and they have a sense of, like, they're almost invisible, and then through their craft or through their music or whatever they do, like, they can speak. That becomes their voice then. That becomes their tool to speak.
That's a good point. Yeah, there is something about, like, being in an artistic field or being in something creative. You need to have, like, an ability to, like, remove yourself and look, almost take a step back out of society and look at society to take inspiration from it.
Definitely. Like, I would say, like, it's just in a positive way. You almost need to be selfish. Like, if you have such a big dream, do you know what I mean? You can't really afford to be, like, going out the weekends and, like, the stuff that young men would, like our age would be doing. Do you know what I mean? I found that, like, you had to sacrifice a lot with relationships and friendships and stuff like that. Like, not that I'd ever fell out with anyone around the sort, but it's just it's a whole different lifestyle. Like, it was just something that I want so much. You know what I mean? To succeed, and I've big plans for it. Like, I don't even think it's really touched the surface yet. It's just starting off.
Definitely. What is it? 18 months or so since the brand launched?
Like, it's registered since July 21, but I didn't really launch it properly till June 2022. So
okay, so it was nearly a year between registering it and then actually proper launch.
Just because like back and forth, like sampling stuff, like is it disaster, like finding the right suppliers, and like you wouldn't believe the amount of money you would like be spending on samples, and it looks like this and that, and then eventually, like, I end up coming to contact with good agents across the world and good factories and stuff like that. But that was a real feeling now factor. Like, I had no experience in any field whatsoever with business or fashion, so it was just trial and error, like, for the first
trial by fire. The skill of hard knocks.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
And if you don't mind, obviously we're going to get to Amico and everything it's taken to get it to the point it's at today, but just give us a bit of background, Shane, before Amico. You spoke there about working in FedEx, being in the army. As much as you feel comfortable saying, what was Shane like, maybe from leaving school up until finding himself in the owner of a fashion brand?
I don't know, like, I was a little bit shy, like, when I was a kid as well, like, and I kind of found boxing then, and that kind of brought me out of me, like, it kind of brought me out a little bit, gave me a little bit of confidence, and then I continued with that, and then I had worked part-time in a spar, and the owner of the spar is actually one of my mentors now. Like, I keep in contact with him almost every day. Like, Thomas Ennis is his name. He's a huge retailer. He owns a whole bag at mile, like all the spars along there. He owns up as far as the Maxwell and the Long Mile Road. Like, he's a really successful man. But, like, his story is kind of similar to mine as well, but not in fashion. But he got into his craft late enough. He had I had only listened to him. He was only telling me, like, a great story, like, about backing himself, and he had said, like, he needed 300,000 euros to go and invest in. He was buying the Spar on Marion Row, you know, the one that's always getting international Spar of the year. And it's an amazing shop, and he was getting knocked back from every bank, and then he went to a bank and he had said to them, I'm just coming as a common courtesy to say thanks for your patience, and I'm gonna go with you to a bank, but thanks very much for having me. And then that bank had said, well, what bank have you been using? And he thought on the spot, well, I'll say they're like rival. And he had used that, and he said, look, we'll match it and we'll do this and that. So he kind of cemented himself in, like, and just worked his way in. But he's a huge success now. Like, he had done that when he was about 28.
Jesus.
But he's been through thick and thin with me. He was originally my boxing coach, and he's seen me through ups and downs and through everything in life. He's a good friend.
Nice. It's so important to have people like that in life, man. It's few and far between.
I have a lot of mentors. I'll always going to keep that shooting mentality. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I listen to a lot of people. Like,
yeah, you seem to draw a lot of inspiration, advice, lessons from not just your own life, but from the life of everyone else around you.
Yeah, like I'm a big reader and listening to podcasts and stuff like that. Like, I think the common denominator for success is just how many times you can fail and get back up. Do you know what I mean? And I've failed a lot in life, and that's kind of a driving force behind the business. Like, it's like you can use is the fear of failure. Like, you can use it as a tailwind or a headwind. Like, and I've just been pushing on through that. Like, there's no plan B. Like, it has to work. You know what I mean? If it's not this year, next year, the year after, it will be a big brand soon.
I like it. I can't remember who it was on a podcast. I think it was actually Sean Cullen on PeerPod.
Oh, okay.
Sam, yeah. But he was saying that he was in between two spots, and he had plan A, which was the dream, and plan B, which was like, if everything fails, I'll fall back on that. And then he like ended up going with his plan B, whatever it might be. And then he was reflecting on it a few years later, and he said, the only thing that having a plan B ever done for me was make me more comfortable with failing than plan A.
Yeah, I would agree, yeah. There's nowhere to go. Like, there's nowhere to go for me if this fails, but it's at a stage now where it's looking really good. Like, we're expanding now into a new factory with 2 offices. I've started fashion design in UCD as well, just to get basic knowledge of the whole game. Like, I want to go the whole way with it. Like, I want to get into hot culture and like runway fashion and the whole lot. Like,
nice. And has fashion always been important to you, or was it more something that came in time?
No, I used to always wear like mad stuff when I was out, like a little bit different. You know what I mean? Than everyone else. Like,
do you have like a particular? Is there a particular outfit you wore when you were younger that stands out as being embarrassing now when you look back?
Me, like, there was a time I got a couple of years ago. I was out and I had a double denim on and a pair of navy Timberland boots.
Like Kanye West.
Everyone was slagging me. But I don't know. I'm just going to see a niche like in the world market for what I'm trying to do. And I'm just going to build in my finances up where you have your core range, that's your bread and butter, but then the more financially free you are, the more creative you can be with your business. And then the college also now is like helping me like see that.
For sure.
I'm gonna go and do like I sit down with like graphic designers as well, and we'll go through everything. Like last Sunday, I worked with a graphic designer for about 4 hours, and we done 41 designs. Like, I know the designs I want. I just don't know how to do them yet. So I'll do a course on that as well. Then I'm just gonna do anything that will benefit the business now.
Sick.
Because it's been so much sacrifice for it. Like, there's no alternative.
Yeah, there's no turning back at this stage now.
The feeling, like, I've seen someone wearing your stuff is amazing. Like,
I can imagine, just walking down the street or something, you see some randomer,
and it's just like, whoa, like, I've never felt that. Like, it's amazing. There's something from like an idea from a mass box room, like to that, you know what I mean? To get pictures taken in the sitting room, like to where it is. But I don't really think it's even started yet, to be honest. It's just getting going, do you know what I mean?
It's built up some crazy momentum. Even a couple of weeks ago, Terence and Calvin were on the Late Late Show, and both of them were wearing the Amico half zips on there, like to turn on your telly and see your clothes sitting there.
The whole country has been so supportive of me as well. Like honestly, like from like even looks at Andy Lee, like Andy Lee wears it all the time. Like, and Andy Lee is my favorite Irish boxer of all time. Like,
Is he?
Yeah, I love
The body
Andy
puncher.
Lee. He's an absolute gentleman. Like,
Tell us that story again, actually, of how Andy Lee came
this is-
to
this is a good
join
story.
the
yeah, that
Amico Club.
happened. So when Katie Taylor was fighting last May, and they had the matchroom.
Open
They had
workout
an-
or something, was it?
They had an open workout in Dundrum. So I decided, like, right, I said I'll look at who's going to be there, and I said, like, Eddie Hearn will be there, Andy Lee will be there, Katie will be there, such and such will be there. So it didn't start till 12 o'clock or half 12, but I got there at about 9:30, 10 o'clock with 8 bags of clothes for these people, like, with their names written along. So I had, like, stuff for Thomas, Carty, Gary Cully, like all the lads that I knew were going to be there, do you know what I mean? And then anyone else, there was other people there as well, like Ariel Hawani and all that, and I just like threw a bag on and take a picture of that, and boy, I'd given all of these people stuff, so, but they were all like there was like police there and security there, like, and I'm sitting there with 8 bags standing there waiting to give these all. But luckily enough, there was a sergeant from the army that was the like head of the security, and he kind of gave me the biddy like when they were coming in and out, like, and I got to give them the stuff, and like just basically asked for could I get their address off them for future reference, like, and like since then that kind of blew it up then. And then I went over to Brighton then a couple of weeks later on, and a friend of mine, he's another mentor of mine, Davey Barber, he's a football agent, he's Evan Ferguson's agent, and he had brought me and my dad over and that, and I brought a full suitcase full of clothes, because we were up in the players lounge afterwards. So we had I had like Casado, McAllister, like Evan, like I had all these like in like we're in Amico. So that was it was just putting myself out there. I'd watched a documentary called The Defined Ones, and it's about a man called Jimmy Iovine, and it's about Dr. Dre, and it's more or less how their paths correlated and how they made Beats by Dre, like, and sold it for 3.2 billion to Apple. And like they speak, like, you see the artists towards the end of the documentary speaking about like Jimmy, like, constantly like pushing these headphones, wear this, and like little did they know in the background he was like building the reputation of these headphones to sell to Apple, like, eventually, like. So I just kind of took a little leaf out of his book and kind of done it like that, pushed the brand, like, basically.
It's unreal, isn't it? Like, there's so many lessons you can take from that little like 2-minute segment alone. Most people would think, how would I get Evan Ferguson or Caicedo or McAllister or Katie Taylor to wear my fashion clothes? And they're like, I don't know, like, maybe I'll just send a message on Instagram. It's like, they never responded. All right, that's like, no.
They get 101 messages a day, like, but I just thought, fuck, I'll just go and just hand it to them, like, do you know what I mean? I got a lot of positive feedback, like, and then like I ended up becoming like I'd be constantly chatting to Andy and then Joe Parker and that as well. Like, I was only out with them before they're gone. They're fighting on the 8th of March. They're fighting Zhang.
Yes.
So
good fight.
But Joe's looking really, really good. He's only 32 now as well. So I think he might be Zhang.
Yeah, he beat Wilder well last.
Andy has a serious stable of fighters as well. I'd say he could be in the running for like trainer of the year maybe. But
man.
yeah, no, it's good. Like, he was there was a video of the two of them going, like, and Andy's in the bomber and the cap, and Joe's the cap, and I mean his excellency, like, at the airport, like. I'm like, wow,
that must be like a mind trip looking at that stuff.
Yeah, but like, it's not really, because you're always like, you always want to go to the next step, the next level. Do you know what I mean? Have you ever? There's a book called Relentless by Tim Grover. He was Michael Jordan, Kobe Bryant, and Dwayne Wade's personal trainer, but he was like into sports psychology, like in the early 80s. And he had like sent a CV into everywhere, like, and no one would take him, like, around Chicago. He's from Chicago. And the only person that replied back to him was Michael Jordan. This was at a stage when they were getting like destroyed by the Pistons, like 2 years in a row in the Eastern Conference Finals, and like, he had trained Michael and for years, so he'd worked with the best, and then he trained Kobe for years and worked with the best, and he trained Dwayne Wade. So I think he has 15. I think he's responsible for 15 rings, like 15 NBA rings, and like, I read his book, and Relentless, and it's just amazing. Like, it's a real eye opener, the sacrifices of what these men needed to achieve. It's not just like basketball. I don't really have an interest in basketball, but like if you want to be an entrepreneur and what you have to prepare to sacrifice, like even like Christmas, like the Christmas Eve, I was working all day, and then Christmas Day I had to get up at 6:30 and do an order, and finished that at 10 o'clock. And then went for breakfast at my brother's house, and then went to the pop-up shop. We had a pop-up shop in Stevens Day, and set the whole thing up like on my own for the whole of Christmas Day. So it was 11:30 by the time I got out Christmas night, and then we had the pop-up shop the next day. But I'd always have a lot of help as well. Do you know what I mean? Like there's part-time staff, and then there's always like my aunties, my uncles, me mum, me dad, like they'll all do a little bit. Like if I'm stuck at ma, will do a bit of ironing for me, or me dad will move a couple of things, and my uncle Jack will like help me in the warehouse tidying up and putting things up and this and that. And like there's a good team around me.
Essential, man. I want to just go back to the army, because that's an interesting one, to go into the army and then make the decision to leave and go and obviously set up your own fashion brand. What like drove you to want to be a soldier in the first place?
I just always wanted to be a soldier. I was the only person in school that didn't go to the career council, whatever it is, yeah. And they were saying like, you have to go, you need to go. And I was like, no, I'm going to go for the army. So I held out. So I stayed on in Thomas, my mentor Spar, until I was 18, and then it kind of was like off record, like kind of like an assistant manager there. So if the manager was off or wasn't in, I'd do all the money, I'd do all his jobs and the orders, stuff like that. Yeah. And then the army came along. Then I was there for 3 years, but it was amazing, like an amazing experience, like the camaraderie and like the laugh you have, like because they break you like in training. Do you know what I mean? Like they just they mentally break you, like, and then once they do that, then it's all a laugh. Like there's nothing they can do to horse.
Is there that stands out as like a memory from like something really tough? Or
yeah. But we were up in Kilbride. Kilbride is up in the mountains in, I think it was February or March, and the ordnance hadn't given me a sleeping bag, so I had to sleep in as much clothes as I could, and I ended up getting a chest infection up there. And I said to myself every day, I said, I fucking need to get out of here. But then I had a great like there was two so for every section you'd have like two teachers, like, so you'd have one IC and two IC. So the first one was Shane Kavanagh, he's a sergeant now, and then the second one was Jay Walsh, he's a sergeant now as well. And like he kind of pulled me aside and said like, and I was like thinking like, I'm not doing well here, I'm falling behind this and that. And he pulled me aside and said, look, you're smashing it, you're doing amazing, like you're flying. It kind of gave me a little bit of self-belief, and we just rocked on from there. And then we had passed out, and I went to a specialised unit. We went to the 2 Cav and became recce qualified and this and that. And then I'd left after then 3 years. Then I'd done 3 years there, and then I was working in construction for a little bit, and then I was working in FedEx. And then when I was working in FedEx, I was going to start the clothing brand. So what I used to do is in the morning, like I had my friend Derek and Ashford and Chris got me in there, and so you'd have the belt come around in the morning, and like you take your stuff off for your earlier. So I was Dublin 8 and Smithfield, so you take your stuff off, but they would help me and throw my stuff off, because I'd be writing down orders for people that night. Like, so what we would do is I would go work the full day, come home to the go on my way home, I'd drop into the warehouse, take whatever I needed out on my notebook that I'd done that morning, and then I would go home, get a shower and something to eat, and then go back out in the van all night till about like 11, half 11, and deliver all the stuff around the city then.
Right,
so that was like that for about 3 months. And then it just grew and grew and grew. Like we started off like in a 150 square meter like storage unit, like, and now it's like we're going into a big factory with 2 offices. It's good, like it's a huge expansion, like. And this this place now for spring summer 2, which will be out around May, is probably like 3 times the size of the last order place. We got 120 products on it, so we're looking for a big year this year.
Oh man, unbelievable.
I have all the plans for winter as well, then set in motion, kind of sampled and stuff like that as well. So
crazy,
serious growth, isn't it?
Yeah, I wanted to ask, because I didn't realise that went army, then you went to construction for a little bit, then FedEx, and then Amico became a full-time thing.
Yeah.
So when leaving the army, was Amico an idea and something you wanted to start? No?
No, it was still nothing yet. There was still nothing yet.
So what was it that led you to make the decision to step away from the army? Was it the chest infection or was it just...
No, I just kind of like, I don't know. I just kind of had, like, I think it's an amazing career or amazing stepping stone if you're an 18-year-old. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
You want to do 3 years or 5 years, I think it's brilliant. Like the skills you learn in it are amazing. Like it's not even that, it's just how to interact with people. Like you're living on top of each other and like non-stop. It's really, really good. Like it was really like character building. Like it was hard, like, do you know what I mean? But it was very enjoyable. But I miss it a lot, like.
That's interesting, man. There's a lot to be said for that, isn't there? Something like to take those few years, even if you didn't go on to be an army or soldier, full-time or progress in that, it's like the core human skills that you learned, I'm sure, still come out today in Amico, even though you're not in like an army environment. It's like the stuff you learned then.
Detail and that,
all that
uniform, stuff like that. Like,
what would you say be the big differences between Shane who went into the army versus then Shane who left?
Well, I was 18 when I went in and I was 21 when I left. There wasn't really a huge difference, I'd say. I wouldn't say I really matured until I started the business.
Okay.
I'd say I was still kind of like an adolescent, to be honest.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And then it was just like the hardship of like the sacrifice you had to put in to like get to where I wanted to get with it, that had kind of like matured me.
You'd hear that sometimes from business owners. You hear from either business owners or people when they have kids. It's nearly like a similar experience. Like your business is your baby in a way.
Yeah, your business is your baby. Like it's like me and the business are intertwined. Like that's the reason it's not going to fail. Like, do you know what I mean? No matter how long it'll take, I don't mean to sound like too overconfident with that. But it's
I know
something
what you mean.
I love doing. Like it's something that like I'm gonna make it work. Like no matter what. And it seems to be on the right path. Like I think this year will be a really good year.
Right, I wanted to talk to you a little bit about the fashion industry as a whole, because these are figures from 2022, but just to give people context of how big of an industry it is. So the fashion industry itself was worth over $1.7 trillion for 2022, and within Europe, 3 of the top 5 richest people in Europe, who are all billionaires, come from the fashion industry. So you have Bernard Arnault, which is LVMH. Worth
Mancio Ortega, Inditex,
and Francois Pinault, who owns Kering Group, which owns YSL, Alexander McQueen, Gucci.
That's right,
worth 40 billion. So 3 of the top 5 billionaires in Europe own clothing brands.
Yeah.
And I wanted to ask, why do people care so much about clothes?
It's a statement, no matter your creed, your language. Like it's a statement. It's what you see before you even speak to someone. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, true.
It's a way of expressing yourself without actually expressing yourself, without speaking. Do you know what I mean? I like the uniqueness and I like people that wear different items and don't wear the same shit as everyone else. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Is there like I fully agree, by the way. I think clothing it's not just to keep you warm. There's an identity element to clothing,
definitely.
And a status thing. Is there a certain identity or status you want somebody to feel when they put on Amico clothing?
Yeah, like, you know that new feeling when you have a new t-shirt on or a new pair of runners, like you feel like you have that little, there's an extra something about you. Do you know what I mean? From
Pep
being
in
a
our
kid,
step,
like that's the feeling.
That
like
was us walking out of the house earlier with the new halves.
I'd love to give customers. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like when you're a kid, like, and you get new tracksuit or runners or whatever you're wearing, like, and you feel great, like that's the feeling I wanted to kind of instill on the customers. Like,
yeah. And what's the feedback you've gotten so far? Do people seem to feel that way when they wear Amico?
Yeah, a lot of good feedback. Yeah, a lot of good feedback.
Sick.
That's quality, man. Yeah, no, it seems like, I could be butchering this, but Amico is like a nice brand between like luxury wear in terms of like it looks the part, it looks really nice, but in terms of price point, it's still accessible for
that was the whole niche
people
in the market I was seeing worldwide, like not just in Europe or anything like that. Like I wanted to kind of create something that's like gives you the same feel as a Louis Vuitton or a Givenchy t-shirt, for example, that costs €500 or €600, but it's a fraction of the price and it's the same feel and design and look as those. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I felt there was huge. There is a huge market for that. Like there, and that's what I'm gonna try crack into over the next 10 years. Like,
nice.
Yeah. What's that process like? Because I'm no expert in the global clothing industry or whatever. Obviously, Louis Vuitton, all these huge brands, they would have a certain manufacturer, a certain supplier. As somebody starting up, trying to figure things out? Like, is it easy to find who makes
No.
Louis Vuitton clothes and try and get them to make your clothing, or what way does that work?
No, they wouldn't work like that. So you just kind of go off and find your own. But you just, like I said, like you just make your mistakes. You go, you test suppliers and they're not good. You just go again and go again and go again and keep on going. Like,
How long was it before, or maybe it's an ongoing process, but before you found a supplier and a manufacturer that you are happy with?
I would say just before Christmas, really.
Really,
Just
yeah?
before Christmas,
Right.
yeah. I would say just before Christmas. Last year, towards the end of last year, was kind of a little bit difficult. I've been dealing with suppliers and agents that I had been a little bit naive because I had no experience in business or fashion. So, like, I was kind of paying a little bit too much, and the money was coming. It was almost as if it grew a little bit too quickly at the start for me to understand, and then it was just a little bit. I got myself into a little bit of a headache then around October, and then I chose, like, it was either like give up on it or like stick your head straight into it and get it going. So I signed up for college, and then like placed orders and just was very careful and strategic on what I'd done up to the Christmas. Like, so we were really rushing it. Like, I remember Christmas, the 23rd was the last day DHL opened, and they had 13 boxes of clothes there for me. Like, 13 boxes of items like that. There was an order of say 42 boxes or something like that, and there was 13 up there that they said, oh, we can't deliver till after Christmas. So I said, well, can I collect it? So I'd been constantly up and down with DHL over the whole Christmas to get them in over the line because the delivery was so late, you know what I mean? Because like it was like the last half of the year was kind of a little bit tough, but then I really, really got through it. Like, I really turned it around on its head then, coming into this year now.
Yeah.
There's a lot to look forward to now, like, with it.
Ah, for sure.
I can imagine the sleepless nights.
Yeah,
Just
a lot.
checking
It's
your
very
emails every
it's
few
very
minutes.
Stressful, like,
Yeah.
and like it's almost like I was saying, you need to be selfish with yourself and time. Like, do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, your downtime and stuff like that, and it's like you're putting yourself out there on a like platform, like, to be like ridiculed or
Chopped down, yeah.
Yeah, do you know what I mean? Like, it's and I'm really shy and like introverted, do you know what I mean? So it's tiring as well, but that feeling of seeing people wearing it is amazing. It's amazing, honestly.
Makes up for the headaches.
Yeah, definitely. It's all worth it. It's all worth it.
Nice.
There's been that many headaches now that I'm kind of getting used to them in a way.
It's just a permanent headache.
Yeah.
Every mistake in that is like another feather for your hat, you know what I mean? It's just, it won't happen again. And that's just, that's the common denominator with success. It's just how many times you fail and just keep getting back up and back up and back up.
For sure.
Oh man, that's like resilience in a nutshell, isn't it? It's not avoiding failure or difficulty. It's just you get to a stage where you're like, I can deal with it.
Yeah, you just learn from it and learn from it.
Nice.
Seems like you've taken them all in your stride and like are able to just find a way through it, get out the other side, take the lesson, then use that as an advantage then moving forward.
Yeah.
It's like John Kavanagh's win or learn mentality, isn't it? It's like either it goes great and happy days, or it goes shit, we learn a lesson, we move on and make it a bit better the next time.
Yeah. It's kind of like you become lucky, like, from your perspective as well. Do you know what I mean? You can be like a pessimist or an optimist, like. So I'd always found like just looking at it in the light, like, this will work, and if it doesn't, the next one will work, and if it doesn't, the next one will work, and if it doesn't, the next one will work. Like, something is bound to work, something is bound to click, like, something is bound to make your business become that, like, overnight success, as they say, like, but it's not an overnight success, you know.
Over a few nights.
Yeah, the 10-year-long overnight success.
That's it. All of a sudden it magically works. Yeah. Jesus.
But I think a lot of people who go into business, and I think the statistics back that up, I was reading earlier, it's like 90% of startups fail. And within the retail garment industry itself, I think it was saying something like 50% or like 1 in every 2 will fail. What makes Amico different?
I don't know. Like, I'd say the support of the people, like, around the area really helped me at the start. Friends and family and that, and then it's just something that I don't think is out there in the fashion world at the minute. Do you know what I mean? It's just like I said, like, there's that niche. There's just something like about this brand that's gonna like be different to anything that's in fashion at the moment. Do you know what I mean?
We should have asked earlier, but where did you grow up? What was your area?
Where did I grow up?
Yeah.
In Crumlin.
In Crumlin?
Yeah.
Deadly.
Yeah.
If anyone's listening to this, they can probably like feel the ambition that comes off you for Amico and like everything you want to do and build. Growing up and going through school and like all those earlier years, Would you have been someone who was like really ambitious, really motivated and driven?
No, I would have been really like shy and like not like that. I didn't get along with everyone around like that.
Yeah,
I was, but I would have been. I don't know. I didn't really fit in. Do you know what I mean? I didn't really fit in school around.
Did you stay? Did you do a leaving cert in school?
Yeah,
you
I
did
finished
that.
me leaving cert. Yeah, but I never really fitted in. Like,
What do you think? Was it a personality thing or just a shyness, or what was it that made you feel like you weren't fitting in?
yeah, I'd say probably a shyness. Yeah, like I would be socially like I would struggle socially like going out. Not in terms of that, but like not like if I can hype myself up to go out and do this and that. Like, like even coming here today, like was a big step for me. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, it doesn't come naturally like to step into those positions.
I've never done anything like this before. Like so.
It's funny because you're like so friendly and outgoing and
Yeah,
welcoming.
yeah.
Like even we were in your pop-up shop on Stevens's Day, and everyone that came in, you were like making time for. How you doing? What do you think? Even a couple of people came in that you knew or you recognised their face, and you were like offering them free clothes and stuff like that. You're a very outgoing person, like at least in those situations it seems.
Yeah, you have to be in those situations, but you just build yourself up to it, and like if that's the price to pay to be successful, like I will do that. You know what I mean?
Yeah. No, I like it.
I don't want this to come across the wrong way, but does it feel like when you're in those environments, you have to like not even put on a mask, but like step into a different version of Shane to be the business owner in the face of Amico, and then when that's said and done, you can kind of retreat back into normal Shane.
Yeah,
let's say
definitely.
it's an interesting dynamic, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's like you almost have to be the person, be the brand, be the face of it. Because
people buy the person and buy the brand. You know what I mean? But it would be like that. Yeah,
nice.
You'd be it's. But I would be like authentic as well. Like, you know what I mean? I wouldn't be any way different or acting any way otherwise.
Yes.
But it's just I would be a little bit shy. That's all. I would just have to break out that mode. Like, then again, I don't really mind it. Like it's who I am. Do you know what I mean?
It's just part of the game,
like
isn't it?
like, it's
Yeah.
like you speak through your craft and your art. Like you speak through your clothes. Like I speak through my clothes. You know what I mean?
That's it. I mean, if Van Gogh didn't cut off his ear, he wouldn't be Van Gogh. Like, you have to embrace who you are.
Yeah.
That's where the genius comes from, isn't it?
Yeah, a bit of madness. Like, wasn't McGregor? He compared himself to Van Gogh. He's like, I've lost my mind to this game. Like all that.
Yeah, you do. You kind of do. You really do. Like you lose you lose friends, relationships. You lose money. You lose time. There's a lot of sacrifice to kind of building something like on the level that you're looking to build it on. Do you know what I mean?
That's the part people skip over as well. They just want to see, like, how can I get Moises Caicedo? Like, record transfer fee fella to wear my gear. It's like, you don't see all the shit that went behind trying to get that.
Yeah.
And most people wouldn't even back themselves enough to book an extra suitcase. To fill it with gear that they may potentially get to give it to somebody.
Yeah, I was like, fuck it. Because we were up in the players' lounge, like, so I brought like loads of bags through, like, and Evan was actually injured that day, so he was with me, like, so he brought, like, was able to bring all the stuff in with me, like.
Deadly.
But that was a good one. That was, yeah. We had McAllister as well, World Cup winner and all, like. Good.
Like a clothing brand that's 18 months old has been worn
all
by
that,
some of the like most renowned boxers in the country, the most expensive football transfer of all time, a World Cup winner,
He's an Irish star.
Yeah, like it's not a bad track record to have on your first less than 2 years.
And now the Molloy twins.
And the Molloy twins on the podcast. It just gets bigger and better. But you mentioned the word there that I think is extremely important, especially in the fashion industry, which is brand. Yeah. And I know that you look up to Bernard Arnault a lot. Is he CEO of LVMH?
He's the CEO of LVMH, yeah. So they own everything. They own Christian Dior, Moet Hennessy, they own Tiffany & Co, Tag watches. Like they're just a superstar conglomerate. Like
And he has a quote speaking about brand, and he says, and I'm reading it out here.
Is this the Steve Jobs one? He speaks to Steve Jobs?
No, actually I saw that one too. That's a good one. If you want to share that after, please do.
Go ahead.
This one is, I'm not so interested in the numbers for the next 6 months. What I am interested in is that the desire for the brand is the same in 10 years as it is today. Yeah. What do you think it takes to create a brand and maintain a brand that holds that desire that will last?
You have to be extremely invested in it. Like, you have to be extremely invested in pushing the brand forward and consistently coming up with new ideas. Like, if I had €1 billion to spend now, like I would have it spent on. I know what I want. You know what I mean?
Right.
It's just building the finances up and up and up to expand the from core ranges outwards and outwards and outwards and outwards. So, like that would be that would be the goal, to eventually one day like catch the attention of that family, like that LVMH family, like.
Yeah.
Where are they based? Paris? Or
Paris.
French. They're French.
You book a flight to France with a load of Amico bags and just go knocking on doors.
I'm a good while off now.
You'll have to do a French course next.
Yeah.
It's mad that he even says, like, if you gave me $1 billion now, I know what I'd be spending it on in terms of growing Amico. Because most people who even think of getting into business, the core driver is probably just money.
Finances,
so, like, what business could I set up that could make me £1 million that I could just go and, like, chill somewhere for the rest of my life?
No, I just want to reinvest it in more stock and more, like, marketing and stuff like that. You know what I mean? I've no interest in like making a profit for me personally from it. Like, I love doing it. I love, like, building it and building it and building it. Like,
that's crazy in a good way.
Yeah.
In the kind of way that only like a Steve Jobs, or like without that level of crazy, you don't get products like Apple or Microsoft or any of those.
Things that change the world.
What's the Steve Jobs quote with Bernard Arnault?
Steve, he speaks to one of the, I think it was only like a couple of years ago, he speaks to one of the chief executives of Apple, and he says, it's something along the lines of, I don't know, in 20 years time if people will still be using the iPhone, maybe there'll be a more advanced technology, but I can guarantee in 20 years time people will still be drinking Dom Perignon. But that's it, they own LVMH on that. Like, I thought it was very good.
Nice. Where do you think that confidence comes from?
For who? For him?
For him to be able to say, maybe, like, because everyone has an iPhone, to say, like, maybe Apple will or won't be here in 20 years, but my drink definitely will be.
Oh, he's an animal. That man is an animal. Like, he is just, he's an inspiration. Like, he's really, really good. He's someone I look up to a lot. Like, yeah.
I hate to ask you this question because it's always a difficult one to answer. If you could go for dinner with 3 people, who would they be, and would Bernard Arnault be one of them?
Yeah, definitely. I'd say Bernard. Then I would look at, like, the UK brands like that are they're about 10 years old, but they're kind of breaking onto the, like, global market now. Like, there's MDV, which is owned by Reece Wabara. He used to play for Man City, and then he got into fashion and kind of chose fashion over football. And then there's Represent, that's owned by 2 brothers. It's George and Mike Heaton. Like, I'd like to go and, like, pick their brains, like, about it. Like,
nice.
But I've seen, like, a tweet by George. Like, correct me, it was like that they had not made a net profit until 2020. And they had been established since 2011. Like it's a long haul. Like, you know what I mean? It's just it's a long journey.
Yeah, it's lots of times, like, who can just stay in the game the longest.
Yeah, that's all it is. Yeah, it's like a war of attrition. Like.
Yeah, exactly. It's perfect words for it. Well, it's such a fascinating industry, and I didn't realize how big it was when you were calling out those numbers.
One point, I was trying to get, like, an image to try and explain how big a trillion was. So bear in mind, this is 1.7 trillion, and it was saying if you had, like, dollar notes and stacked them on top of each other, for $1 trillion you'd nearly get to the sun from Earth.
What?
That is an insane amount of money.
Yeah.
And to think, like, of all the things in the world people spend the money on, $1 trillion, nearly 2 trillion of that is going on clothing.
It's fashion. Yeah. A lot of it is.
That is madness.
And that's why I'm doing the course as well. Like, in UCD is going to, like, into ladies' wear as well then.
Yeah. And branch out into there. Yeah.
Definitely, yeah.
When you mentioned the quote by, well, it was actually Shane who shared the one for Steve Jobs where he said about Dom Perignon, and people would still be drinking that self-belief that he has, or at least had at that stage, about the stuff he's into and, like, how sustainable that's going to be over time. I kind of get similar feelings from you around, like, your just relentlessness to grow Amico, and, like, nothing's going to, the only way that this doesn't fail is the fact that I'm just never going to give up on it, and whatever happens, we're going to get through it.
Yeah.
Before Amico, was there anything in life that you had that you felt that level of self-belief with, or that level of drive?
No, honestly, no. Like, maybe boxing a little bit. Like I was okay. Like, I was honestly just above average. Like, but I remember, like, in 2012, like, I'd won the Dublins, and I remember Mick Dowling pulling me, dad, and my uncle aside, and was like, oh, like, if Shane continues on the way he is, he will become, like, he'll go to Rio, like, that was 4 years later, like, and I kind of, like, being honest, I kind of copped out boxing, like, you know what I mean? That was like a driving force behind the brand as well, like, that I'd kind of given up on stuff, do you know what I mean? I'd never put myself fully into something. Like, as soon as I started to become successful and become challenging, I'd given up on it. And then, like, then I joined Crumlin Boxing Club, and Philip always wanted me to become a professional, like, and he uses me an example, like, as a waste of talent, but in a good way, like, you know what I mean? Like, but like, he said he's happy for me, like, he knows, like, oh, you're doing the clothes and this and that now, like, but yeah, like that, like, I just, the army as well, like, I would have looking to go on and go for the Ranger wing, but I just always kind of, like, I don't know, gave up. So this, like, that feeling of just giving up on stuff, it just is driven me now just to like laser in on this. Like, there's no giving up on this. Like, this is not gonna fail.
Has there been any points since you started where you felt like walking away from it?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
What was does a big one stand out?
Yeah, I'd say last October or September. I went away on a holiday, and I was kind of looking at the suppliers that was using and how much they were charging, and there was issues with agents and just various issues. I was just a little bit naive. I just thought it grew too fast for me to be checking stuff properly, and like, I was kind of like, what would you say, like there wasn't a lot of money left to purchase new products, you know what I mean? So I had to go on. So what I'd done is I made a new website. I'd done a new website sale. So we had built up like a substantial amount of money then to place a big order for Christmas, and then that came in, and that just like turned into like a prosperous circle. Like, I believe like that with the business or with anything in life, it's a prosperous circle. If one thing comes good, it will just continuously go and go and go and go. Nice. I'll be a lot more careful now. Like, I learned a lot from that.
Yeah.
Like, that really was one of them times, like, where, like, if I had, like, I don't think 99% of people in that situation, like, that I was in at that moment would have walked away.
Why didn't you?
I just put too much into it. It was just maybe the failure of like the embarrassment of failing. To be honest, like, I'd like intertwine myself with Amico, like, you know what I mean? Like, Shane Doyle is Amico. Like, I'm not gonna give up on it ever. Like, if that means I have to go like and get like a second job to fund stock, this and that, like, I'll do that. Like, whatever I need to do, I'll do for it. But it's gone to a stage now where it's really good. Like, I'm so grateful for it. Like it's like I'm so grateful for, like, just to have found it. Like, I don't understand how I'm deserving of it. You know what I mean? It was just amazing, like, to have come across it, and then just the way it had, like, transport and the ups and downs, and like the support from everyone around the area, and all was amazing. Like, from like Crumlin and Drimnagh, and then like all over the city, like the whole of Dublin, and like when I first started, like, was so good.
Yeah, it seemed to take off really quickly, but not in a fatty way. Like, you see a lot of brands, like, who comes to mind, like Gym Kings or like 11 Degrees, where it's like, it doesn't exist, all of a sudden it's everywhere, and then just as quickly no one's wearing it anymore. But Amico felt like it came on very quickly, but it seemed to maintain that consistency, and if anything, it's just grown since. Yeah,
because I still have, like, you'll have your core range, but like, I'm getting into more like the creative stuff then as well. Do you know what I mean? The stuff that I can play around with, like, and like kind of horticulture and stuff like that, and like, I take like inspiration from the likes of Plain and like Louis Vuitton and like all of the major fashion brands. Like, and look at what they're doing, and it was being very inspiring. Like, I like Pharrell now. He's creative director at Louis Vuitton, and like Virgil Abloh before that, like with Off-White, and he was creative director with LV as well. Like I look at all of their stuff, like, and like, I'd be really inspired by them. Like,
you can really tell he's a student of the game first and foremost, can't you? Like, how many examples there are, how many people he knows within the industry, different backgrounds, different things, and how to kind of like tie that together, and then bring your authentic stamp on it, I suppose, as well, to tie that in.
Yeah.
It's fascinating, man. And it was the reason I wanted to ask about, like, growing up and if there was inspiration or drive then, is because I'm sure we get some younger people who watch the podcast, or parents who have younger kids, and I think in young kids there's a lot of them, maybe we're just biased because we grew up around this generation, but like nowadays, who don't have really, they feel like motivated for, like, school doesn't motivate them, don't know what they want to do after school. And I think it's refreshing and inspiring to hear stories like yours where you were like finished school, went to the army, left the army, done this, and then I found Amico, and then all of a sudden now I'm this like really ambitious, motivated, driven person.
Yeah, definitely.
But it took me a while to find it. I wasn't just
Definitely.
natural.
Like I wasn't like acting special in school. Like I was like an average student. Like I was like the grey man. Do you know what I mean? And like everyone has a dream. Everybody has a dream and a goal. Like they need to like go towards and work towards. And I just feel like that. Like everyone needs to try it out. Like everyone needs to like take that risk of being embarrassed. Like so what? Who cares? Like fuck it.
Yeah.
Like there's a quote.
Yeah.
Like one of the best selling teachers I have is like, "Don't worry, no one cares." Because no one cares. Like if you fuck up, like no one really cares. Like in a way, like they have their own problems. They have rent to pay, or they have kids to look after, or this and that. Like they'll say like, "Oh, look ashamed that they're fucking that up," but like it doesn't really matter. Like it's irrelevant. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
No one really cares. Like so, just go for it. Like chase your dreams and find what you like to do. Like it would be. I would love to like inspire like people from around my area and to get into business. Like what I couldn't have taught in school. Like you go to college, or you go and do an apprenticeship.
Yeah.
And that's it. Like that's your life. Like you go get a mortgage, you have children, and that's it. But there's more to it. Like, and I think that's just in Ireland. Like you look at the UK and America, like, and it's all entrepreneurship, and it's a different game. Like it's a different game. Like that would be a dream now to like move to London. Like after I finish my degree, and maybe get a master's in fashion design over there, and then build a brand over there as well, and then like crack on into the US then, like worldwide. Nice. Like, but we've had orders like from all over the world, from North America, Australia, like everywhere. Like,
Oh really? Yeah.
yeah, but like to really like push it there.
I seen you done a UK launch recently.
Yeah,
enough.
yeah.
How did that go, and what was the idea behind that?
But just kind of it compounds itself. Do you know what I mean? The brand is still small, so like people will be looking at it and like, and you're getting a lot of followers and stuff like that. But like this year, like I think it was kind of the perfect time to do it, because people will be following the page and see all of this new designs in and these new products and like I don't think there's like brands in the UK that are gonna be like trying to do what I'm doing. Do you know what I mean? Like I take like inspiration from them, from Reese Bar and the Heat Brothers and that, with representing MDV and that. But like I don't know, to see a niche there that hasn't been done yet. There's something there in the fashion industry that has not been done that I can see.
Yeah.
And I sound a bit mad, like, but I just feel no one else can see it yet but me. And it was always like that from the start. Like when I started off, like not that me friends, like I'd say me friends saw he's gone off his fucking head, like going and like making the clothing brand like out of blue, like, but like after a while they kind of seen it, you know what I mean? But I could understand them thinking like, what is he doing? Like if a friend came to me at that time, I'm gonna start this out of blue, and start running along with it the way I ran along with it, but like. Yeah, it's crazy the way it's gone.
It's a funny one. It's kind of, you might know, is it the statue of David that Michelangelo done?
Yeah.
And it's like that, like building a vision or building a brand is kind of like doing that to a statue. It's like you take this big lump of rock, and looking at this lump of rock, I can see what I want it to be, or you can see what you want it to be, but to everyone else it's just a lump of rock.
Yeah,
and it's only through like the continual chipping away at that rock, days, weeks, months, years. Eventually they can see what you're trying to build.
You and the rock. There's a famous quote: "The man is both the marble and the sculptor."
Yeah.
So like he has to like kind of like chisel himself and like hurt himself and put him through sacrifices and put him through like strain to achieve that. Like. There's no easy road to like success. Like
no.
On that team, the man being the marble and the sculptor, what pieces of Shane would you say you had to sculpt away or add on to yourself to help grow Amico to where it is?
I'd say like I still have loads of friends, but I would to be certain friends I wouldn't be as close to anymore. Like, and like it would be my fault, you know what I mean? And it's difficult. Like you kind of can't attend as many like parties or like family events because you're working on a dream, you know what I mean? Like that's kind of that's a difficult part of it. Like sacrificing that for relationships as well. Like there's no really time for anything like that. Like you're just consistently working. Like even Sunday, like I was working from 1 till 11:30 that night, like just on stuff like and on orders, and you know what I mean? There's a lot that goes on behind the scenes. I don't think anyone would put up with or understand. Like.
No, I didn't. I see on your Instagram story, like it could be 11:30, 12:15 at night, and then Shane Doyle posts a story, and you click on it, it's like designing t-shirts, like on your laptop or whatever, doing graphic design stuff. It seems like, actually, I heard a quote yesterday, I think it was, on a podcast, and they were talking about like successful people and what lives inside of successful people that drives them to be successful. And people always talk about like determination, like, oh, I was so determined, they had to make it happen. But he used a different word, and I think it's probably a more accurate one. It's tortured. He's like, I'm tortured by this vision. I'm tortured by this game to make something happen.
Yeah, definitely.
Do you lie in bed at night sometimes wishing you could just live a simpler life and not be tortured by this?
Yeah, like sometimes you look at like your friends and they have like good jobs and they're making like €1,000, €1,200 a week, doing a bit of overtime, like with say plumbers or sparks, and you're thinking like because it's financially, you're putting everything you make back into the company, like always, everything is just reinvested back into the company, and you're thinking like, these are buying houses now, and these are buying this and that, and you're saying like, but you just have to believe in yourself, it'll work out in the end, like in 5 years time, 10 years time, like you will overpass them. I don't mean that in a negative way, but like it does sometimes you do doubt yourself, and you think to yourself like, is it better to go back and get a day job? But at this stage now, we're in too deep, like there's no going back.
Nice.
Yeah, that ability to delay gratification and kind of see everyone around you.
Delay gratification, yeah.
Such a life-changing skill. That's such a pain in that arse to learn.
Yeah.
You can only learn the hard way, really, can't you?
Yeah, it doesn't get easier over time either.
There's always the temptation, isn't there, to just like go the path of least resistance or do what everyone else is doing.
I just didn't want that. Like I just didn't want to work it a 9 to 5 and like this the normal life. Do you know what I mean? I wanted to kind of like try leave a legacy like with this thing.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? I want this like brand to be here before, like after I'm gone. I don't want to just make a few quid off it for the next couple of years and then like bounce off. I want to really like have this thing forever. Like I'm not passionate about it.
Yeah.
I'm just curious. I don't know if you'll even have the answer at this stage too, but you were mentioning you'd love to get the attention of like the Bernard Arnault family and kind of come under the LVMH brand over time. Do you have an idea of like what would have to happen to get to that level, or what kind of things?
Yeah, you'd have to be taking enough sales off them.
You'd have to be having a big impact on the market.
Yeah, you'd have to have a big impact on their market to kind of grab their attention. You know what I mean? But like, that would be the dream, like to get to that level.
For sure. Have they acquired any Irish brands that you know of?
No.
Nice.
There's not really many Irish brands. Like,
in the early days, was there any moments that stand out for you? Because me and Ian at the moment are launching our live event, right? And like we are pushing it, trying to grow, and every time we get like a new ticket sale or anytime something like that happens, like yes, you know what I mean? Like those little moments that it's not massive, it's one ticket, but it's like it's almost like reaffirming, like, okay, this is real, this is happening, like this is growing. Was there any moments like that for you in the early days at Amico that stand out as being like proof almost, like this could work, this could work?
I would say the first pop-up shop that we had done in Mensport in 2022. It's just Christmas 2022.
Okay, yeah.
So my friend Craig Morty, he owns a couple of the franchises of Mensport. Like he's a good friend of mine, like a gentleman, and he's from Crumlin as well. Like he's a businessman. Like he's similar age to me. Like he's a very, very good lad. But he had let me use it as a pop-up shop, so I'd kind of set up rails, and it's a small shop. Do you know what I mean? I had 4 stories. We used the bottom story as like storage, and the top one as storage as well, and the other 2 were for customers and till and that. Okay. Like, but like that was one of them moments, like to see it, like to see how many people had come out to it. Like there's a video like I have like of people like queuing like around all the way around to to Dawson Street from South Anne Street, like just to come out like that was really, really good.
A lot of people who know of Amico don't know of Shane Doyle.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
is that something you consciously wanted to do, to separate yourself from the brand in that way, or?
A little bit, yeah. I kind of thought like for once and for all, it'd be nice to kind of like speak and talk about the brand, like, because people might have a different perspective of the brand or whatever like that. But I like I love the mystique in certain brands and musicians. Like you look at Frank Ocean, like he hasn't released an album since 2016, and he headlined Coachella last year, like sold out. Like then you look at like there's a fashion designer. You've heard of the brand Margiela?
Mm-hmm.
So he was Martin Margiela is his name, but he was the creative director for Hermes and Jean Paul Gaultier as well, and he owned it. He was a partner known Mason Margiela, and like he had like notoriously been like a mystique. He would never be in like pictures, podcasts.
Really?
Never anything like that. I always found like, and I think now in the age of social media, that it's going to very good to be not as accessible as other people. Do you know what I mean? Like when we were younger, like you remember like football stars and boxers and like musicians and all these people like were larger than life. It was almost as if they didn't exist. And now
like
it's
Santa
as if
Claus
you can go onto
yeah.
their Instagram, you can see what they're eating every day for their dinner, like, and see what training they're doing. Do you know what I mean? It's almost if you're living within their life. I think now, like, it's going to have a nice time to like be a little bit of a recluse and like step away from the limelight and let your work speak for you.
It's interesting, isn't it? It's an interesting take. Create that distance.
Yeah,
and kind of create the separation, and that almost builds the desire from people to want to know more, or want to be involved, or want to be part of Amico, whatever that brand and culture is. They want some of it. Yeah, that's cool. It's cool. It was a conscious decision as well to do it.
Yeah, I don't think I'll do one of these again for a while.
I wanted to ask you. It's a simple question.
I just like just for the fact that I don't think the brand is even like at a level yet to speak about it, because we're just starting off. Do you know what I mean?
Hear you. Yeah, it's still
thanks
growing.
so much for having me, like, and let me speak about it. Like,
honestly, man, when we were sitting down starting the podcast, we were putting together names of like, okay, who's kind of doing stuff that'd be cool to talk about. And we know Dano's obviously your cousin, you were mates with Dan. It's like, if we'll get Shane in to talk about Amico, like that'd be deadly. Because I've never heard him, and even trying to do research for the podcast, it's like I'll go onto Shane's Instagram, like there's not really much there. I'll go into the Amico Instagram, it's like it's deadly, but it doesn't, like there isn't a lot out there about you and the whole story of Amico behind it, and it's interesting that was a conscious decision. Yeah. For you, what was it that, like, a simple question, why did you say yes to come on and talk about it now?
I don't know, I just felt it was the right time to kind of speak about it, like, you know what I mean? And I might go off now for the next 3 years and not do anything of the sort, like, and concentrate on building the brand. But it would be nice for people to get an idea of the person behind the brand, and like motivate people as well to start their own businesses and not be worried about like what people think and worry about failure and this and that. Like, you know what I mean? Like, you fall down 7 times, you get up 8. Like, you just continuously go on. Like, it's almost as if like the universe will give you what you want if you just continuously keep hacking at it. Like, it'll just say this cunt isn't going away. Just give him what he wants. You know what I mean?
It's like the crying child. Just
satisfy
him to get the iPad.
Yeah, if you're that much into your craft, like, and you're that passionate about it, like, you're not gonna fail. Like, there's you'll always find a way. Like, so I love reading these people's podcast. Listen to the podcast and reading these people's books and that, and like, it's all like, no matter what the profession is, like, there's always that common denominator of just how much bullshit can you put up with, and how many times are you prepared to fail before you succeed. And then they have that overnight success moment, and then it's up from there. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, it's all rosy. Everyone ignores the struggles then, and they're all looking at the money and the fame, and they don't acknowledge everything that led to that point and all the hardship and difficulties.
You look back on the struggles now, like, and they are like, you're so grateful for them, but not at the time though.
No,
like, they're heartbreaking. Where you look at the struggles then, like, afterwards, and they've been what, like, you're almost galvanized by them. Do you know what I mean? You're strengthened. You're like, that issue ever arises again, it's not going to affect you.
I'd say, what's the quote? Fail fast and fail often.
Yes,
something
that's
like
that.
that.
Fail fast, fail often.
So what other way is there to learn? Like, none of this comes with a real book.
Yeah. Especially like here in Ireland, like it's just, I don't think anyone has really done it. Like, like, there's a few brands, like, but like,
especially for the niche that you're in. And I think another thing with, like, that I admire about the way you approach business is, like, a lot of times with these luxury brands, they can feel almost untouchable. I think there's a mystique to them, obviously, but, like, for example, like with Louis Vuitton or like Hermes, Gucci, whatever they might be, they kind of feel so far removed from society that like, I don't know, unless you're like extremely wealthy, it's difficult to connect with them, aside from like the status that comes with owning the product. But I think what's cool about Amico is it has that kind of luxury feel and that luxury aura around the brand, but it's still very much involved with, like, even on a community level, like part-time, you take on a lot of employees from the local area, you sponsor local football clubs, different things like that. Is that something that's important to you when it comes to building the brand?
Definitely. Like, we sponsored we started a team a couple of years ago, All County Football Club, and we won in numerous cups last year. We were flying, like, doing really well.
Unbeaten, like, all season as well, wasn't it?
Last season, yeah.
Madness.
But like, we had started that from scratch, like, and it's all like a friend group, like, but we're doing really, really well, like, and then I would employ like on part time, like local people from the area as well, like, to be a lot of stuff like that. And like, I would like to give back to as much to the community, because they've been so supportive of me from the start. You know what I mean? Like, when I started the brand, it's all I was getting was shares from everybody and anybody. You know what I mean? So I'd be so grateful for that, and be nice to give back to that.
For sure.
You're doing a great job of it, man. I know you've had some crazy link-ups and collabs with Amico so far. Do you have anyone in mind that's been like a dream collab, something you'd love to pull on an Amico top or something like that?
Someone who I'd love to put on an Amico top.
Because we always get asked, who's your dream podcast guest?
Mike Tyson.
Tyson?
Really? Yeah.
Yes. Mike Tyson.
I feel like that's doable with the Andy Lee connection and the whole Dubai stuff going on, or the Abu Dhabi, wherever it is, and with boxing, and they're always trying to make those super fights over there.
Yeah.
I don't know, we can definitely see that happening.
I'm dreaming big for this brand. Like, I'm talking like Drake, Tyson, like Jay-Z, you want, like, these people were in your brand, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, you see Represent now, you see that kind of breaking in the States now, and there's huge music artists wearing that, and MDV in that as well. It's like, it's inspiring. Like, I look at them, like, and I'd say, wow, like, that's reachable, do you know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure.
You mentioned earlier it's like a prosperous cycle. It's like you get in one place and then it goes to the next and the next. So
yeah, it's just almost as if you have to kind of like if you're an optimist or a pessimist, you're just going to have to think lucky. Like if this one doesn't work, the next one will work, and if this one doesn't work, the next one will work, and just continuously go on that, and eventually one works, and you will just continue on and on and on and on.
It reminds me, remember that lesson I was sharing with you, Liam, what I learned from a book. I think it was Irwin McManus, Mind Shift, and he was talking about go till you get a no.
Yes, yeah.
So like most people don't go until they get a yes, right? So it's like they won't do something until they get permission from someone else to do it. So it's like, for example, if I want to give Mike Tyson a t-shirt, it's like, all right, I'll wait till I get confirmation from Mike Tyson's staff that I can go here and give them a t-shirt. It's like, go till you get a no. So like, just go out there, have your t-shirts handy like you did on the Dundrum things. Like, I'm just gonna go and I'm gonna keep going until like the security guard pushes me back and says, it's not happening.
They were all laughing at me and all.
Yeah, exactly.
Easy, but like that really excelled around. Like,
and I think it gets like respect from the people as well who are on the receiving end of it. I'm sure they're a little bit pissed off because there's always people pulling at them, whatever. But to see someone who's literally like taking money out of your like, that's stock that you had to pay for to bring in. Like, that's not just free shit you found somewhere. As like, to bring that in and willing to be give that away to them, and all you're asking for in return is like, how can I have your address so I can send you even more free stuff for the business? It's like that long-term thinking, I'm sure, is what separates you from so
like
many.
I'd spoke to Eddie Hearn that day. Like, he was at the weigh-in, at the workout, and I gave him stuff, but he was going up to Calvin and Terence to do their podcast.
Oh, that's right. He was on Talking
But they
Bollocks,
told me that he was coming up like on the slide, like, so I waited up there at the thing, like, and he's like, "Oh, look, you again, is it?" Like, and I was like, "Can I get another picture with you with a top on?" Like, and he did it for me. Like,
you're stalking him, yeah.
Yeah, these people are like, they can relate to it. You know what I mean? They're go-getters, like.
Big time, and there's like a level of respect that comes with that. It's like, you know what, let me give him a little something back.
Cheeky cunt, like, just
exactly,
following me around the city, giving me clothes, like.
Yeah. Even for us, when we got to meet the president, it was a little bit like that. It was almost like, all right, go on, go on, lads.
You ask enough times, they just
yeah. How did that feel?
It was weird.
It
was a strange experience because we were in the Fino like 3 or 4 months before that, just floating around looking at the Oris. You were just on a walk and like, oh, what's the odds of like getting in there and being able to go in? So we went up to the front gate and asked the guard who was on patrol, like, how would we go about if we were going to like try to get in? And he gave us a bit of advice and whatever else, and we were like, all right, cool. So we shot off an email based on what he told us to do, and they responded today to say like, basically no.
Yeah, like thanks for reaching out, but it's not possible.
And we were like, all right, cool, fair enough. So we just kept doing our thing, and then randomly a couple of months later got another email saying that we were invited in to go to like an afternoon tea with the president and all, and got to meet him. But it's funny how you just do things, you throw it out there, you just keep showing up, keep putting the work in, and like you said, it's like the universe just kind of makes it happen somehow for you.
Yeah, just get the pain in his bollocks. Listen,
Just
give him what he wants and just get him over here.
That's it. It's like the law of attraction, but with a whole lot of action put in there. It's like you manifest it, but you go and like grind and go through all this challenge and struggles, and then eventually it all comes together and makes sense in the end.
Yeah, definitely.
It's been a journey for Amico, man, and I'm sure like all the goals and ambitions that you have for the brand. When you look at investing or like what companies to invest in, one of the things I always say to look for is a visionary founder, because like they're going to be the living example of what the brand can be or what the business can do, and like to see what drives you. It's not like money's important, obviously, but it's not like I'm just doing this to make this much money so I can exit the company.
I only want to make money to
bigger.
reinvest into the brand, like, and become more creative and make more lines and more products and reinvest it into the company, like.
And like even the fact you're in UCD now studying fashion, like most people who get to the stage you are with Amico probably think, what could they teach me? I should be doing that course. I should be giving the lectures on fashion. I've built Amico to this level, you know, that way. So you're still in that student mindset.
I actually blatantly put my hand up in the class and said like I'm a slow learner, like, and they can kind of see that, like I'm the only fella in the class, like, and all these girls like are like amazing. Like the tutor Naomi, she's very, very good. Like but she can kind of see me struggling a little bit. And I had done before this, I went and done courses with girls that like kind of make their own stuff, just to like kind of prep me for college, like, so I kind of half knew what I was doing. But even still, there's one girl that's in the college that has 3 degrees and a master's, like one in fine arts and sculpture, and then there's another lady there, like a lovely lady, like she's like a school teacher, but I believe she's like art or something along the lines of that. And they came in with like their homework and stuff they had done, like, and I'm like, wow, like these are so ahead of me, like, well, like it's nice, like, you know what I mean? It's a good challenge, like. That's the
environment you need to be in. People who are constantly better than you, who will help you get to their level. That's
definitely.
Like the goal.
Yeah, that's like the saying, isn't it? Like you need a mentor that has a mentor, and
if your mentor hasn't got a mentor, get a new mentor.
Oh, that's the other one. It's like if you're the smartest person in the room, you're in the wrong room.
That
one there. It's nice.
But even that, like a lot of people don't put themselves in those positions because they don't like being the stupid.
And a lot of people were asking me, why are you doing that? Like, why do you want to get into ladies fashion? Why can't you? Like, I could have just said, like, I could have like doing me designs and doing this and that and like made it, but I want to go to full hog with it. You know what I mean? I want to get the whole thing done. Like, I want to have an accolade behind me. Like, I want to like beyond the level of like these Virgil Ablohs and these Pharrells in years to come. Do you know what I mean? I want to be on that level, like.
Oh, for sure.
Philip Plains, and like that's the dream. Like, I'm not just doing this just for, like, I'm too deeply invested now to go back, like, and stop around like that. Like, I may as well like shoot for the stars and miss falling a cloud.
Definitely, that's the visionary mindset, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's like, even though I was listening to somebody around there saying like, the modern iPhone, I don't even know which iPhone this is. I think it's the 12 or but it's like from like the 10 to the most modern one, there's like, it's basically the same phone, just like a bit different software and a better quality camera. Whereas like if Steve Jobs was still alive, the iPhone 11 would look completely different to the 12, completely different, like, probably because he isn't just interested in pumping out a new product every year to make money. His is like, how can I make something that's like such a novel feature that it will fundamentally change the way we look at technology. I think like with Amico, you strike me as the kind of person where you'd lose sleep at night over what size to make the label or what way to put the packaging together.
Yeah. That, like, I would be really careful with orders and stuff like that. But like this next order that we have coming in, like, will be like amazing. Like, so to be around, like, it's all new stuff and new graphics. Like it's gonna be really, really good. This year is gonna be a big year. Nice. This year's gonna be a big year for Amico. I'm looking forward to it. It's always a difficult question to answer, but where do you see Amico? Obviously, you probably couldn't have even imagined the growth it's experienced in the last 18 months, but 5 years from now, where would you like Amico to be? I would like to be selling in the US at that stage.
Selling in the US?
Yeah. Europe and the US. UK definitely within the next like 2. Well, we have launched, but really selling in the UK at like a substantial rate. And then I would like to be in the US then by 5 years, and then in 10 years time, then I would be like to like gain the attention of these huge conglomerates, like, and like being asked to attend meetings for like this fella's taking hundreds of millions off us.
Call him into a dark room somewhere, tie him up.
We need to take a bit of an equity out of this company or something along the lines of that. But like, no, I don't even think I would do that. But it would just that's kind of the goal. Like,
you want your name in those circles.
Yeah, definitely.
Nice. You know what's cool? The fact that he's okay with waiting 10 years to get there. Not waiting 10 years, that makes it sound possible. Like putting the work in, but the patience to say, yeah, I'm going to be here for the next 10 years. So
yeah, but I only really started when I was 23. I'm 26 now. So like I'm only a baby like in this industry. Like
true, yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like there's people in this industry that are like so far ahead of me.
What age is Bernard Arnault? Is he like
Bernard 74?
74, so yeah.
74. But he has his children run certain aspects of the business, like so there's some of them that are like one of them runs Tiffany, one of them runs some of the different brands. Like he has all trained up. Like
nice. He could just find one of the daughters and
try
stick in her DMs and fast track your way into the family.
No, we're not ready yet.
No.
That's a nice vision to have.
Definitely, man. Definitely. It's so cool. And to hear you speaking about business in a way that's so, like, there's some conversations that you just are part of. We've had a few, thankfully, on the podcast. And you just walk out of a room after having it, like, reflecting on everything you're doing and inspiring you to, like, think bigger and reassess the way you're going about things and why am I doing stuff? Why do I do it this way? What's possible for me? And, like, I'm sure that message is being transported through the camera to anyone watching, not just of like a younger generation who don't really know what they want to do, even people who are a bit older who are maybe thinking like, I've always had this little itch that I wanted to scratch in trying out this business or doing this thing, and to see that you are willing to double job it for a few months, you know, suck it up, sacrifice parties and all this stuff to try and make it work, to chase a dream that only you could see for a little while, that now is having success and is definitely on a path.
You'll never regret it. Like you'll never regret it, like trying to chase your dream. Like, and everyone has it. Like everyone can resonate with that feeling like that. Like I have nothing and I want something.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Everybody in the world can resonate with that.
Yeah, you'll regret much more not doing it, and then being 70, 80, looking back thinking, fuck, time's gone.
If only pursued that, yeah. And I might run myself into the ground trying to pursue it, but I don't care. Like I'm that passionate about that. It's
you mentioned 50 Cent earlier. Get rich or die trying, isn't it?
Yeah.
Well, no, man, it's been deadly, and like, we were fans of Amico prior to chatting to you, but like, even just from you saying, hopefully if I get on and chat to the lads, it might increase brand awareness, let them know a bit more about me, motivate. Like, I know for myself, I've bought so much gear from the likes of Gymshark just because I listened to Ben Francis' story and heard like what they went through. So I'm sure it will have some positive impact on Amico, and hopefully bring more people in to see like behind the brand, kind of behind the scenes, and what led to it being born, for want of a better word, and where it's going, the vision. And it's almost like when you buy a piece of clothing from a company like that, you're not just buying the top, you're like buying into Shane's vision, what the business can be. And I think that's so cool. You're almost like a little shareholder in the business in those senses.
Yeah, it's like I always want, like I'd always said it from the start like that. Like if you buy a top from me now, I want that top to be valued higher in your wardrobe as the years go on.
Yes,
you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You have an early Amico t-shirt or whatever you have, like it will be increased in value by the time like 2-3 years come down the line, like, because the brand has built so much, it's so bigger. Do you understand?
Yes. Sick. Sure. It's like a stock,
like nearly like an investment, like
exactly
like a Rolex.
Yeah.
I have 2 questions. I'm not sure about you. The first question is it's an easy question. I don't think it's a simple one to answer. If you could go back to Shane when he first launched Amico, what's the biggest piece of advice you could give him based off everything that's happened since?
Nothing. I wouldn't give him any advice, because I think all of the failures have made me and like galvanized me into like a more solid businessman and a more solid person. Like I don't really think anything now can like really break me, like, because last year was so difficult. Like, do you know what I mean? So I wouldn't give him any advice. I'd let him go through all the shit that I had to go through.
Solid answer. Most people make up an answer on the spot just to sound
bollocks,
intelligent or wise, but I like it.
Really,
I think that
like,
answer's the best answer.
You have to go through you have to go through the fire, like.
No,
Yeah,
for sure.
you
You
have
can't. There's no shortcut around it.
Yeah, yeah.
The second question then is, in some ways, the complete opposite. But 50 years or 100 years from now, when Shane Doyle is no more, hopefully Amico's still around.
Hopefully not 50 years.
What legacy would you like it to leave behind?
I'd like to leave behind like generational wealth for my family. Like I would like to leave like in a couple of years, I would like to be able to look after like me mom, me dad, and like my brother, me godchild, and people close to me, me uncle and aunties and cousins, and have the financial capability to look after them like when I'm gone, and their children and so forth, like, and the brand, like, hopefully in the same way that like LVMH has done it and Bernard Arnault has done it, like. That's the dream, like.
You've shared a lot of the challenges that have come along the way. I'm sure most of them, like, there's lots of physical challenges, but also like mentally just trying to stay right, show up in the right ways. Is there anything that you found in your life, like routines, rituals, stuff like that you do that help you kind of just stay on track, stay disciplined, stay motivated, keep showing up?
I would say training.
Exercise.
I'd say training, yeah. I'd say training, definitely. Because like I said, it's a prosperous circle again. You're looking good, you're feeling better, you're moving with a different aura, you have more energy, do you know what I mean? You're walking with a bit of confidence, you're walking with that bit of like luck, like you almost feel lucky, like anything you touch will like succeed, you know what I mean?
Yeah. That's a deadly answer. Cool. So exercise, be active.
Yeah.
And then last question, just in case anyone is not familiar, where's the best place to follow Amico, get involved, be part of the journey?
On Instagram, or we're online as well.
Cool. So on the website
store, and we have an Instagram as well.
Lovely. And also just a new drop. I know you're excited about this. When's that going to be live?
That'll be around May, June. So it'll break it into 2 parts. So it'll be
okay.
A huge amount of new products on that.
Lovely. I'm sure there'll be a build up to it. This episode will be out kind of mid-March time. So you have about 6 weeks to save up a few quid, keep involved with what's happening for the launch, and get ready to pick up some new gear on the May.
100%. Thank you.
All right, welcome, Shane Doyle. Your first podcast. I'm pretty sure it won't be your last, but take as much time as you need to go back into your little cellar and build Amico into this huge visionary brand that you want it to be.
Yeah,
but for myself and Adam, we're so grateful to you for coming on today.
Thanks so much for having me. Honestly, I felt really out of my depth with the people that you had on. Like, I just like felt I haven't accomplished it. I just haven't even touched the iceberg yet with the business. So thanks very much for having me on and letting me speak about the brand and that.
Pleasure, man. Keep doing your thing.